Seemingly not a week goes by without a company coming out with a new component with claims of improved comfort, compliance, and vibration damping. Manufacturers of everything from grips to stems to seat posts, suspension, saddles, wheels, tyre inserts, spokes, headsets, and most recently, tuned mass dampers have at some point made claims concerning vibration damping and how their variation offers more. Such claims aren't easily verified, especially when you consider the astronomical price points of some of these components. Of all of the component categories mentioned, it's the handlebar that reigns supreme when it comes to claims of comfort, compliance, and vibration damping. One can expect to spend up to 6 times the amount on such a bar versus a geometrically equivalent bar that is sold without such claims. We teamed up with engineer Louis Moore at Edinburgh Napier University's Sports Science Lab to test the actual vibration damping of 8 handlebars. They are the OneUp Carbon V2, the OneUp Alloy, the Renthal Fat Bar Carbon, the Renthal Fat Bar Alloy, the Renthal Fat Bar Light Carbon, the RaceFace Era Carbon, the RaceFace Turbine Alloy, and last but not least, Forge and Bond All Mountain. All bars were tested in a 35mm clamp at 800mm wide, except for the Renthal Fat Bar Light, which comes 760mm as stock. The team at Napier have developed a robust and reproducible method for testing the vibration damping properties of a given bike component. It might look quite rudimentary, but this modified roller setup has allowed them to reliably measure differences between bars to the point of statistical significance. So we have a standard set of indoor rollers, each one with a stick taped to it to introduce vibration into the system. It doesn't look like much, but you can see the vibration at the end of each handlebar is actually really quite violent. True enough, this looks to be a very far cry from actual riding, and it is, but that doesn't mean that it isn't valuable on some level. For those who want to nerd out on the finer details, you can go to the Pinkbike homepage now to see some octave band analysis on this to see just how comparable this test method is to real-world riding conditions. To measure the vibration damping, the vibrations measured by a 3-axis accelerometer at the end of the bar are taken away from the vibrations measured by a second accelerometer bolted next to the stem, and that gives us a transmissibility ratio. If the ratio is less than 1, then we consider the handlebar to be attenuating vibrations. If it's greater than 1, then we say that the handlebar is amplifying them. Poor Louis volunteered to test all 8 handlebars in a single day. Each one was subjected to 30 seconds of riding on the bumpy rollers 3 times over, and an average was taken. Here are 4 things we learned. First of all 8 handlebars are attenuating vibrations. They all had a transmissibility ratio of less than 1. Topping the table is the OneUp Carbon V2 handlebar with the lowest transmissibility ratio of 0.84, offering the most vibration damping. Interesting to note about this one, it has a very unique profile. It's ovalized here to improve its compliance. The lowest performing bar in our test was an aluminium one. It's the Renthal Fat Bar Alloy, and it had quite a modest transmissibility ratio of 0.96. Number 2. In general, the carbon handlebars outperformed the aluminium ones. The carbon bars from Renthal, OneUp and Forge and Bond all gave a transmissibility ratio that was lower than that of any of the aluminum bars. The exception is the RaceFace Era bar, demonstrating less vibration damping than 2 of the aluminum bars we had on test. Number 3. Leverage isn't everything. Despite being the narrowest bar tested, the Renthal Fat Bar Light actually gave one of the lowest transmissibility ratios. It showed a greater capacity for vibration damping than 6 of our 800mm bars. I think that's quite an interesting observation because it highlights that it's the carbon layup, the profile, the butting profiles in a bar that stand to have a really big impact on its vibration damping properties. Number 4, price and weight are not indicative of how well a handlebar damps vibration. For what it's worth though, our price versus transmissibility ratio graph tells us that it's the RaceFace Turbine aluminium bar that offers the best bang for buck in this department, edging out the OneUp Carbon V2 and the OneUp Alloy bar that fall into 2nd and 3rd place respectively. While I would argue that this test method does offer some relevance to real-world riding, it clearly isn't the whole picture, and for that reason, one probably shouldn't overinterpret these results. Indoor lab testing, while it can be tightly controlled to give comparable and reproducible results, is never going to replicate what riders put their handlebars through out on the trail. That's why what comes next is more important than anything. We're going to be doing some blinded back-to-back testing of some of these handlebars out on the trail to find out which one is most comfortable. At the end of the day, it's comfort that matters, not what the numbers in our test method say, and so we're going to go and find out how it feels at the bottom of each run, because that's what matters, right? Like how hard are you having to peel your fingers off the handlebar at the end of each run? Like how much fatigue has built up in your hands and your arms, and like how much forearm pump do you have? More details on exactly how we test these bars at Edinburgh Napier University can be found on the homepage now, so head over there and consume it all and let us know what you think in the comments. Have you guys ridden any of these bars? And if so, let us know what you think of them.